Welcome to another episode of our Love Zone. Today we are dealing with a very powerful but yet overlooked topic, which says the difference can make the difference. Uh, Today we have with us Falari in the house, Flo,
Happy
and
to be here.
yeah, Falari, you are looking good.
Thank you, sir. You're looking sharp too.
Thank you. Why me?
Always on point.
All right. We also have J Mommy Janet in the house. Janet,
Thank
how you
you.
doing?
I'm doing great.
The long
Thank
I
you.
saw you.
I'm back now.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Bimbo, Abimbola. What's your surname again?
Olamijulo.
Olamidula. It's a very simple name now. It's scaring
You
me.
get used to it.
All right. Welcome. So today I have these powerful people in the house. You know, when we say the difference can make the difference, is something that has often been overlooked, but very powerful, aspect of human connection, where we have different people from different backgrounds, different belief, different culture, and yet, we do not feel that these things can divide us, but they can become our strength. In marriages, in romantic relationship, even in communities, where we have to interact with people that do not feel or act like we do, instead of these things to break us, we can understand ourselves, embrace it, and make our relationships deeper and richer. But we have found out that it has become our undoing, even in today, that families are not together, relationships are broken. Then there are rumors of war, killing. People cannot tolerate one another because they feel that they have differences in their background and in their culture, and it has become a very big problem for us in the society and the world at large. But today we want to look at it, share our own opinion and see how we can bring these things together. So I want to start with Bimbo. Bimbo, what are your experiences when it comes to people having different culture, different ideology in their relationship, and how did it turn out?
Okay, thank you for having me, and it's great to be here. I would like to say that one thing I realized I haven't grown up to become an adult is everything sort of stems from the family units, how we were raised, really, from cradle to date,
Yeah.
right? Amazingly, I'm an event planner, so I get to plan events across races, across cultures, traditions, and I get to see more, and it's interesting how we come together as one at the end of the day to have an event and still be excited. So even at an event where you see several cultures, traditions, you don't even know that these people are of different backgrounds. They just come together for a purpose, and that's the goal. So
Okay.
then again, the purpose is, what are we really doing? Life is already hard, so hard that we need to make it better. Regardless of the fact that we were raised in different ways, we need to unlearn and relearn, really, because life has changed and is evolving every day, every time. Hence the reason why I always say, live in such a way that you can do things better. The people around you can be more comfortable. It begins obviously from your home. When you are able to replicate that in your home, it's easy to replicate it outside, because again, what you do not have, you can't spread, right? So it begins from the home, and then it goes out to neighbors, and then it goes out to everywhere. You have to do everything you have to do every day of the week, and then the world gets to become a better place because they get to experience you. It's part of experiencing who you are as a person, and then that's it. Really.
All right, Bimbo, thank you very much. You have, I know you have just tell us the books how it should be, really. All right, but Janet, I want to ask, in your own experience, have the I know you have relationship, you are married, you have family, you have friends. What are your practical experience when it comes to the differences? How have people's differences come to play in relationship that you have found yourself in?
So I would take my work relationship, right, my work circle as an example. Really, it's really hard for you to find someone who's like you. Let's just be honest. So you most likely see someone who is maybe better in certain aspects where you lack.
So how do we come about when you say they say marry somebody who, you know, you know how they say it now, you have to marry like for like.
Like for like. Yeah.
So if you are saying that you cannot find somebody who is like you, so in reality you cannot really marry somebody, you cannot really find somebody who is your like. Then how do we come about that?
Okay, so I think when the statement is made, marry like for like, right? I believe it is based on marrying someone who has the same values as yourself. Same values, same goals. But let's be honest, mannerisms and maybe way of life will be different. Truth is, you most likely have a spouse who was brought up in a totally different family skill and family set than yourself.
Okay.
So when we say marry like for like, I believe they're talking about values and
Values
goals.
and goals.
Yes,
So
not
we do not
necessarily
have
mannerisms.
differences in values.
We do have differences in values
Okay.
as couples. We do.
Okay.
We will not see eye to eye on every single thing, right?
Okay.
But then I would pick my struggle.
Okay.
The differences we have, is it something I can live with?
Okay.
Am I comfortable living with those differences? And then we
Okay.
roll with it.
So has differences really worked for you in relationship? Because we are trying to be practical
Yeah.
here. Have you really connected with somebody that is very different from you?
Yes, you will definitely find them. So like I was saying earlier, my work environment, right? You meet different people. People that have grown up in different environments, people that have a very different background from yourself, right? And then all of you are working together on a particular project. Now, I can't say because this person is not like me, does not think like me, like for like, I'm not working with the person. That is not possible in that work situation. You all have to work together. Now, to work together, understanding has to come in play. Do we understand why we are here? Do we know the exact goal, right? And how exactly can we work with our differences? Now, I had a boss who worked best at night. Not everybody likes to work at night. So would we now say because our boss works at night, all of us have to work at night and then sleep through the day? So we have to find a way to make it work. We understand that he does his best work at night. We do not do our best work at night. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do our work in the day, we'll send it to you, you review at night. By the time we come the next morning, you have done your reviews. We'll do our own work again. And that way it worked for us. We didn't have to, adopt his way of living automatically. We had to find a way to work. And we understood each other. We knew what the goal was. And we worked towards that.
All right, thank you, Janet.
May I jump in on that?
Okay.
Yeah, so coming from the aspect of relationship, so I'd like to personalize it a bit further. Growing up in my family, it was rather a very large family, the then polygamous setting. And you see the children striving for validation. You have your father, different moms. Of course, this is aspect of having preferences. You can't overrule that. So when our senior ones were tending towards age of marriages, and you are hearing on the streets, on the corridors that this one is bringing Igbo boy or Ijebu boy, and being an Ijebu man, you realize this person will prefer you marry a Yoruba lady or a Yoruba man. I have a sister who ended up marrying an Igbo man, but we knew the journey was not that smooth. That's a different background, but at the end of the day, it worked out. Now, how it affected some others, unspoken, yeah? When you're now meeting, like me personally, when you're now on the corridor of cotton and you are getting close to someone, there's something at the back of your mind, this person is not Yoruba. Validation. And that is the flip side to it. That's how it affects people in our generation, even before now, you see. But right now, we're coming to terms with the fact that these things don't matter. What we should appreciate is what they bring to your relationship. The person from your race may have a contrary, makeup, may have contrary configuration to you, may not really compliment you. But the person that actually compliments you the most is not from your race. So it's for you to identify what difference is on the scale of preference in terms of why I fit well with this person or how this person fits better with me. It speaks to your home as marriage couple and even where you work. So just to touch.
Okay. I have heard what you said, but I'm trying to be practical when it comes to these differences. Um, is it will you always meet someone that have the same value with you? That will you always meet someone that has the same value with you?
Definitely not.
Okay,
You you
so
won't.
now we know we have different values. How are we able to deal with it? Because that has always been the problem. For example, we have accepted that people don't have the same value, people don't have the same background because we all come from different families, and we all agree that this is how it is, and we agree before we go into relationship as a family and all that. So, how come? How come that after what we know that these things are not the same, that we are different in this aspect, how come do we now get to that point? Then we now start having issues.
I think for me, I would say it's a lack of communication.
Okay.
Many times we don't communicate. Communication is the most important thing in life generally. One of the most important modes of making things work, keeping things existence, keeping things relevant. Communication is everything. Like if you do not communicate certain things or everything, there'll be issues. Many times the underlying issues of divorce where they will say irreconcilable differences, it is actually because they haven't communicated to understand and comprehend whatever was passed across, and they were not ready to listen. So some people listen to respond, some people listen to react, some people listen to understand and comprehend. And it's very important that we get all of those right. Because imagine your teacher is teaching in class, people are receiving it differently. Somebody just wants to receive it to pass. Someone wants to receive it because they know they already have the plan for their life. I'm in the medical school. I have to be a medical doctor. Some people are just reading medicine, for example, to fulfill a dream of their parents or something, right? And at the end, they go to IT or go to something else. So everybody is receiving things differently. However, in relationships, for whatever the goal it is, it's very important that we listen to understand and we communicate as plainly and as easy to understand as possible. Because again, communication goes a long way. And that's what I really see that it is. Every single relationship that doesn't work is either there's no communication or understanding that we're not compatible, even as friends. Because I realize that I'm one who is very careful choosing friends or knowing who to call friends. I have a lot of colleagues, acquaintances, but friendship is very key to me, very dear to me. So it's very important I know who I am calling my friend. I need to be sure that that person can also say I'm their friend. Every month we appraise our friendship. That's how deep I go, because I need to be sure that I can have some conversations with you and it will still be confidential to you. You know not as not to pass it on to somebody else. When we have dispute, I want to believe that it's still within us and you won't go and pass on the conversation with someone else.
Okay,
Right?
so Bimbo, sorry, I'm cutting you. I want to ask you a direct question. Differences in background, differences in religion, in values, has it helped you personally in your relationship? Do you have a good testimony?
Well, yes, I have had. And I would say that one of the things, as I said earlier, is having to communicate, because some of the values you won't see in the beginning. Sometimes we communicate it and then we experience it. That
So
way,
so you have experienced it.
yes,
Okay, you have experienced how the different can actually make the difference for
yes,
you. All
yes.
right, Janet, what about you?
So I would say yes.
Okay.
Most of my friendships and relationships, this is something I learned quite early, has to be symbiotic. I am giving you something, you're giving me something. So this is where our differences play. I have my strengths, I have my weaknesses. My friend or the person I'm relating with also has strengths and they also have weaknesses. Most times we get to realize that my strength is my friend's weakness. Example, I am someone who likes to go to the office. I have a to-do list. Once I get to the office, I've written out every single thing I want to do for that day, right? And then I have a colleague who works in the same space as me. And the first day I resumed there, she was like, oh, I like that you do this. Like you come into work and then you start writing out like you're so organized, you write out what you have to do for the day. And later on, I realized she started doing it when we became closer, right? Now I have passed on my strength to her.
Okay.
We've also had situations where she has also helped me with a weakness as well. So
Okay.
I believe, yes, differences help a lot.
So
but then
do you have any case where
that is the opposite.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, that's one I want
Yeah.
to hear.
All right. So there are also there are also situations where the person's weakness you tend to absorb unknowingly sometimes. It's not like you set out in the friendship to take on the person's weakness. It just happens. You realize that maybe the person procrastinates and then later on you just wake up one day and you're like, I said I would do this thing on Monday, it's Friday. Why am I doing this? But the key there is when you find out that you are suddenly taking on, because it's normal for us to rub off each other as far as we spend time together. Over time, your mannerisms will become mine, your behaviors will become mine. It is just human interaction, right? So you would definitely realize that somewhere along the line, you've taken on this person's bad habits. You've also taken on their bad values as well, unknowingly. But when you find out, now the question is, what do you do? Do you continue to fit in with the person, or you start working on it to change not just yourself, but also improve that person's life by also, should I say, inspiring change in them?
All right. So if what you are saying is actually what should be done, then why are we having divorces in marriages? Why are we having broken families? In fact, according to the statistics, it is said that Nigeria has the 11th highest rate of divorce in the world. You can imagine, however, hundreds of countries, and Nigeria has 11th highest rate of divorce, meaning that these things we say them, we know them, but in reality, we are all struggling. For learning, why are we still having broken families? Why are we still having? And for you, that is from a polygamous home. Maybe you can tell us how are these things still happening?
That's a big ask, Isam, and that space is very critical. You see, she talked about meeting people, rubbing off positive values and negative, and she also pointed out communication. So let's start with communicating with your spouse or your person that you're courting before. You understand each other, and everything felt good. Over time, a Janet who now start working with a multinational and meeting people, putting it in your space now rubbing off with different kind of persons with different values, a symbiotic relationship. You are spending a lot of time with them in the office place, while you as a husband, you are doing another stuff. You see, over time, we've realized couple, sometimes they change in their reasoning. The man you thought you knew or the woman you thought you knew, over
Now start
time,
seeing something new.
start seeing something new. You pick things from where you are. That's why the people you actually, let me use the word, mingle with matter.
Okay.
And it's important for couples to actually, that's why some couples, they know their husband's friends.
Okay.
And they know who the wives are rolling with. So if you're seeing friends that you know can be a bad influence to your husband, you start, pushing the red button, red flag quickly. And if it's all good, it's all good. Because it starts bringing things to the home. We understand the part that, God designed us differently, even in romance. We have different gifts according to the grace given unto us. In as much as we are tapping from different gifts from our friends' community, we should not tap the negative. But what has happened, what we've seen so much now in marriages, in area of what is important, the respect, the love, communication, and mutual understanding, all these things checked out. First year in marriage, everything was sweet and good. the kids start coming in. You see, when small challenges of life start to come in, finances are not balancing, work mode, crisis, you're under pressure. How do you now manage those things? You know, you signed up for better.
Yeah.
You did the
For
old
better,
we
for
saying
worse.
for better for worse.
You do it.
We're just saying it so we can go to reception and groove.
So it's
But when
actually
the reality-
for better.
For better
better,
for
for
best.
best.
That's what we are, for better for
For
best.
best.
Wow.
Yes, forever together.
Okay.
You see, when you hit that spot,
Mm.
the real you, what makes you the real man, the real woman, now start to come in. You know, that's where the difference now start to play out. You have already understood this person. You already understand this woman. You know the new terrain that you are in. Try and work it together. But what we find out these days, people are not even ready to come to play to even discuss. You have breaking communication.
Yeah.
If there's no more communication, how can you understand each other? Then when you are not communicating with your spouse, you are communicating with the person outside who will feed you wrong advice and influence you negatively. So that is a different person impacting you differently negatively.
So for Olani, hold on. So now, at first, because I know that every relationship starts on a good note.
Yes.
Whether it is marriage or friends or
Friends.
anybody. At first, people are okay with the differences.
Yes.
Whether you are black, you are
Yes.
tall, you
Yes.
are. In fact, some say, "Don't worry,
I will cope.
yes, I will cope."
The grace exists.
Yeah, even those that say, this your husband he's always angry, you will say, no, I can cope. So, but you find out that at a certain point, people are not able to tolerate those differences anymore. What happened? Why do we come to a place, Janet? Why do we come to a place in a relationship and now we find out that the different cannot make the difference anymore?
Okay, so I'll start by saying every relationship has like a life cycle. So you first of all come together. It's called forming, right? And then we have norming.
Okay.
So at norming point, you tell me your values, I tell you my values.
Okay.
We try to understand each other. Now there's another stage called storming.
Storming.
Yeah.
The storm
This is
will
when we
come.
start
Hit the
fighting,
storm.
right? We start fighting.
Must the
we
storm
start having,
come?
yes, it
has.
must. Even in a friendship.
So the forming is the first one.
yeah, the forming.
Then
Then we
the
have
storm.
norming. Norming.
That's where the
That's
word
when we
forming
start
comes
having,
from. You
you
form
know-
for each other.
Honestly,
the
that's the
forming-
point.
You're forming
yeah.
for the
So we
person.
have
So that
forming.
means the forming is actually not the real
Not the real, the
relationship.
No.
facade.
No.
It is. So if your
Intro.
relationship goes through storming and then it goes through it, right? And you get to the other side, right?
What's the other side?
Winning.
So that's when you now have like understanding. You people can now live together.
What's it called?
I can't really remember,
give
but
him
there's
winning.
let's call it winning. Let's just call it winning, yeah. So every friendship relationship, even with your neighbors, you go through the same thing. So imagine you meet your neighbor first day, you guys are hi, you know. At some point you now realize, oh, we're both Christians. Then one day you dry your clothes, your neighbor takes it off, you're at storming. At the point where you're like, guy, why would you do this? Now, if that friendship or relationship goes past that point, you people now have an understanding. Maybe your neighbor likes to wash on these days, I like to wash on these days. But the truth is, it will still go back again through that circle because just like he said, people change, right? Now, once you go through all of this, at the point of storming, you have wronged your friend, you know, forgiveness, or your spouse, let's use spouse now. Forgiveness has to come in. But what we see most likely is we have people that keep store of all the wrongs. There's no true forgiveness. Yes. So they just pretend, oh, I've forgiven you. But let's say 5 months down the line, 3 weeks down the line is now, oh, you did this 5 months ago. You did this 3 years ago, right? So they just keep overloading unforgiveness in the home.
Is forgiveness part of the difference?
Forgiveness is a solution to the difference.
Forgiveness is a solution to the difference. So it means that the different would always come.
Will always come,
But
regardless.
sometimes forgiveness don't always come with the different.
Exactly. So what we now have over time, once we have unforgiveness, we now have resentment. So you see the person and suddenly there's this well of hatred in your heart.
Resentment now is it not as a result of not
Unforgiveness.
being able to act? Okay, resentment as a result of
Unforgiveness. We have a lot.
that is coming at at you not accepting the other person.
Person. Exactly.
I feel, in as much as I agree with you totally, resentment doesn't have to be attached to unforgiveness. Really,
But
you
is it
True.
not resentment that is it not unforgiveness that leads to
Resentment.
resentment?
well, in a way.
Mm.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
explain. When you say unforgiveness leads to resentment,
Yes.
you may forgive someone, right?
Yes.
Who you are not in close proximity with. You resent someone most time that you are seeing constant.
So,
But
In a way.
something causes resentment
So
now.
if you, yeah, you feel, so that word, it's maybe relative. So if you say you resent someone, a family member you see once a while, or someone that is offshore, you're forgiving the person. You may not talk. If you have to see each other at a function, yeah, hi, you move on. It's not like you are living in resentment. Sort of. That's the angle I'm coming from. But unforgiveness is key, is basic. You may not forge ahead with the relationship, but doesn't mean I resent you. Doesn't mean my kids will not roll with your kids. In a way, of course, I've forgiven you, but you and I, we've redefined our relationship that we're
Okay.
not on the same boat together. And that happens in couples. And we've seen marriages where they break up. And the couples, the husband and wife, are still friends. They
Okay.
remarry and they are still relating. I mean, before they broke up, they had a breakdown of the relationship. They forgave each other and they're able to mend fences for the sake of their children. Yes? But some couples resent each other, even after the divorce and custody, whatever. So that's why I said, and yet there's still forgiveness. So there's still a way to balance the forgiving part and you being resentful of the other person.
Okay, so I don't think you can forgive somebody and still resent them. I don't think it's possible. I don't think you can forgive genuinely and still resent the person. Also, you don't have to have the person in your space to resent them. Sometimes someone just has to mention that person's name. And there's this bile that just rises up, you know. I don't know. You must have been in situations where someone says something about someone. Like, I don't want to hear the person's name. Don't mention that name to me, right?
Resentment.
That is resentment. Like, even the thoughts, the name, anything that has to do with that person. You could even see someone related to that person and act a certain way, right? So resentment, I don't think once you forgive, everything goes away. It's as if it never happened. Yes, you would still remember, but it would no longer hurt you. So you can't put resentment and forgiveness in the same place, because once you resent someone, you still have those negative emotions towards the person.
Okay, so I want us to dive into we have talked about relationship. I want us to dive into the community a little bit. In Nigeria today, we are having a lot of crises that are resulting from the fact that there are differences. There are the differences. You know, we grew up knowing that our diversity is our strength, but we are seeing today that our diversity is our problem, where we have people that have different political view, people that come from different culture, you know, and the one we are seeing now, you know, we are seeing that people are not able to tolerate other person's culture. That people are in church serving, the other person feels that no, I don't think these people should be here. We have to go to the church, stop the service. So Bimbo, I want to ask, what is at what point do we even you know address this issue of the differences for us as a country?
To address this has to be continuous because everything begins with our mindset. How we think as a human being and how we think towards others. People watch football, different teams, the same clique of friends, they watch football. Their team is probably not winning. And at the end of the game, they messed up, blah, 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 and then they're back together. They're friends. Do you understand? People get through extremes. Maybe they're in teams in the office. Your team won the contract or something, and they are back to being friends in the evening. It's just a mindset.
So how do we deal with the case of Nigeria?
It has to start from the smaller units, local governments, the communities, the streets, all those people who say something like landlord association, something like local government chairman. It has to start from really inside because they are the one closest to the smaller units, families.
Okay.
They are the ones who need to find, if it's to find a curriculum or find a way to meet with people, tell them genuinely what really it means to love one another. Love yourself first, and then what it means to love one another. Because the hate in you is spreading and is causing chaos.
All right. Thank you, Bimbo. Janet, what's your own take? The Nigerian situation now, what do you think needs to be done, or what do you think is a solution?
Um, so I think most of the Nigerians we have are living with stereotypes.
Stereotype, please. Can you
Yes.
break down that your English?
So, so we have a certain mindset towards Northerners. We have a certain outlook towards Westerners. We have a certain outlook towards. Once you say you're from this place,
Yeah.
there's a statement that follows,
Okay.
right? So, I don't want to mention. I don't want to go into but we understand. Once you just say, "Oh, I'm from this place," most likely, that interaction, someone is already adding something. They're already being microaggressive towards you.
So what I'm saying, Janet,
Yeah.
my questions, I always like us to be practical and
Yeah.
direct. In the case of Nigeria now, we find ourselves, what do you think we need to do? Because it is very obvious that the different is not making the difference.
Exactly.
Instead, it is killing us. How do we deal with the issue of Nigeria?
So the basic thing is to do away with stereotypes. This person
So do we
is
go
my
to their house and say,
no, we can't do that.
So what
We can't do
what
that.
should we do?
So the change will start with me. It starts from me, right?
Okay.
And then it
Okay,
spreads.
okay, don't worry. Janet, I don't have a problem with you.
That starts
Folari.
with me.
I know you want to start with you. Are you the one going to the churches to go and kill
Yeah.
people? For Folari, what do you think?
Practically,
Yeah.
we start with the kids, the generations after us. Schools. These children are just learning. They are just speaking life values. And our churches, most religious gatherings. That's where we start to change the mindset. Everything is about the mind. We've been they've reducted the mindset for tools to be used by some people, in power. And we need to rearrange that. Maybe not right now.
Sorry to
Go ahead.
interrupt you. When we start from the schools, when they come back home, what do they meet?
So
Hence the reason.
So when they come back home, they are meeting parents and they are meeting their peers, like in a compound where you have different families. My sons play with my neighbor's children outside. So they are going to different schools, yeah? If that is applicable in all schools right now, and again, don't forget, these kids will grow together. In 15 years, they are forming a generation and they are the leaders then. So the people we're talking about that have created this system won't be there by that time. But the guys that will take over the system by that time have a different mindset that, look, this guy called Anayo is my brother. And we as parents, thankfully we are Christians, should imbibe that culture as well, what they've been taught in school. And we should not encourage that further. We can bring different policies and do different programs. It will just be for a moment. But what will last longer is to start with the new generation, the younger ones now, and hopefully in our time we'll see the change start coming into play in our nation as it is. You talked about local governments, and where those government agencies can come to play is now helping the tools, the schools and the churches and the mosques with resources or tools to enhance this education. It's all about the education. If you need them to go to, you don't have to go to a museum that is Christian based. You don't have to go to a place that you don't have to. Some schools now, if you are a Christian, can't attend. Some schools take only Muslim children, and when those kind of kids grow up, they don't see the child who is a Christian, whose father is a pastor. They don't see as a brother because they put a lot in the head. All those systemic whatever has to be broken. And when the government is on board with that and say, look, there is nothing like, look, these kids can actually come and do excursion here. You guys can go together in the same vehicle. You want to eat, you can eat together. And these are kids. That is how the Westerners form the children. What they start to put in their head from age 2. You see a child of 10 being a programmer. It starts early. But we will start to understand to change their mindset from this age. A child of 10-year-old will tell the father, no, daddy, no. Uncle Bina is like my daddy.
Okay. See,
like that.
Fulani, sorry to break you. I want to say something. You know what you are saying should be the standard.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, the reason why we are in the situation that we are in is that from a child, most of these people have been taught these standards.
Yes.
Today,
Yes.
we have schools in the north where people are being
Exactly.
they are
Yeah.
teaching them not to
Not to
tolerate
tolerate
the other person, and that is what they have grown into,
Yes.
not tolerating anybody.
Anybody.
They don't want to care the fact if you are different from me, then
You are an
you
enemy.
should not live. Now, I just want us to drop this, you know, at this point now that we are find ourselves in a country where somebody will want to kill the other person because he or she feels that the other person is different from her.
Yeah.
At this grown, the problem is now grown. It's no more tadpole. It's a matured problem. What do we advise? Just in a short word, what do we advise? Because that is the real issues we are dealing with in the country now.
As is right now.
Yeah.
I know
Wow.
everybody. I know this is a very
It's heavy.
strong topic.
That's deep. That's deep. I think the ball is in the court of our leaders, and I'm not talking about leaders in government, leaders in churches, in organizations, in companies, to bring. You see, when people see value in something, they like to jump on it. So when you create stuff that give value by working together in unity, you want to stay in that place of unity. But when you are painting a picture of what destruction, of a destructive scenario, when you are working in disunity, people see, no, I don't want this to continue. I know one thing, my company I work with, a multinational one time, and they did something to make sure people don't commit fraud. They took us to Kirikiri. They arranged with them, they put everybody in the Starbucks, and they made everybody go through a tour. The idea was to see, meaning if you steal, this is where you end up. But the Kirikiri people saw white people, and they now thought, oh, let's give them the best side of us. Let's create a good picture. So they're not giving us, yeah, we reform people. So the directors were not happy. And no, we wanted to show how they will suffer. What were they trying to achieve? To put something in our mind, to rearrange our mind that, look, if you do this, that's where you're going to. So if leaders will first at that top have a cohesive plan to create something that gives value in working as unity, together in unity, you forget whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, people can actually see the point. Okay, fine, let me drop this gun and embrace peace. When we're doing that, our generations below us are looking up to that, and what they've been taught in school sinks in, and it's easier for them to walk in that dimension. I think.
All right. So looking at that, I just want us to come back to the church. We also know that even in church, we also have to understand that
Yes,
you know
a lot.
the
Yeah.
Bible says we know in parts. You know, is our differences is it really helping us in church? Bimbo.
I would say yes to an extent.
You know, Bimbo, I know you like to be very cool. So all your answers have been yes. Is our differences really helping us in church? Yes or no?
Yes to an extent.
Bimbo, I mean sorry, Janet, is our differences reality? Is it really helping us in church?
From what I see.
I know you always say the good side.
So
Are you with Bimbo?
It's a two-part thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the good side. We also have the bad side of our differences in church.
In church.
Yeah.
For Larry, what do you think?
Point blank, no.
No.
Because you see people having preference for, is an Igbo pastor.
Mm.
And it's drawing, they resonate more because I'm seeing my Igbo sisters there.
Oh, wow.
Thankfully, we here, and on what we've done here
That's
in
the
the
other
house
side.
here, is to make sure the choir is international. So you can't say we are tending towards Yoruba song more, whatever, but it has affected the church.
Okay.
Some people go to churches, and even for them to accept you on board, you need to speak a particular language for them to bring you in if you are not Yoruba.
I even heard that there are some churches that, as a pastor, if you are not from
You don't
that
grow
tribe,
through the rank.
you cannot even become one.
You can become one. And
Yeah.
if you are one,
Some big
you
churches
end up at the lighthouse level. No matter your calling and your gifting. And that is not how God designed. God designed us to walk in unity. We have to add colors to the society. And that's why we are the church. We are to dominate.
So it has even eaten into the church.
Yes,
Deeply.
yes.
So
Deeply.
Janet, you said there's two sides to it. That means it has been good.
It has been good, it has also been bad. Just like you said, right? There's a lot of bias because of differences in churches.
Differences in
Human differences.
okay.
Yeah. So another thing is you get to see in some churches, right? People tend to gyrate towards a person, maybe because the person is rich and influential, right? So all their love pours into that person. Then they neglect the people who are actually in need of the care. Because they're looking at it from the mindset of, if I help this person, one day they'll remember me. If they get to
So the poor
that
man is
higher,
suffering
the
in
poor
church.
man now keeps suffering, right? So we
man
have
will
that
suffer.
happen as well.
Okay, so as we round up, I want to go back to relationship, which I think is very, very important. For example, we look at marriage. We know that there are certain things that actually are the characteristics of a good relationship, and we say them every day, like one, communication, what love language, habits, character, how one person does something different from the other person, you know and we have found out that has become the biggest undoing when it comes to relationship. So Folahin, let me start with you. What what do you think you want to tell the people listening to us about how the different can make the difference?
Okay. It's pretty simple. We are diverse in nature. When you understand um, your quality, your gifts, know that in that strength of yours, there is a weakness. It's not.
So every strength,
Has
anybody with strength,
yes, has his
has
own
also a
weakness.
weakness.
And that makes us all different. Your wife may be the best at making fried rice.
Okay.
Doesn't mean her jollof rice will be perfect. Does that make her not the wonderful wife? Of course, she remains that. But her ability or her inability to do well in these areas, that's where you compliment her. You may be very domesticated as a man, and you may be lazy as a man. Your wife may compliment you or even help you to be better.
In Africa, are men domesticated?
Yes, I am.
You are?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I mean,
I see.
I do this with joy and gladness.
You cook?
I cook. I do market runs. I do home support.
See a lot of men like that.
Honestly,
That's a
nice.
good man.
That's nice.
A lot of
He is
men
a
like
good
that.
You
man.
tell me to help her make special pepper soup with fish and all, and it's settled. You will relax and eat.
Can I order, please?
Just on my wife. So like that, and we should understand that in our place of work, in community, church. I mean, in the men's group, the executive and the membership as a whole, we're all diverse. You may be the analytical person, you may be the critical thinking person, but there may be meek and very, someone that sees through things. You come to that person and say, look, this is how I see this thing. You're very creative. How do you think we can go about it? And he tells you, yes, bros, I like that idea. But how about you look at it this way? It is you understanding your place that you are not perfect. You don't see it all, and you are not 100%. Efficiency is never 100%. That's why even an A student in school is never 100 over 100. It's about 85 to 90. Give room for errors. So when you understand that, we can forge better in relationships. Everybody should know you are not a complete being. You need people to.
All right, Janet, I want to ask you, what is your limit? Where do you call it stop when it comes to the different will make the difference. I know you say somebody can have weakness, then you can have strength,
Yeah.
all those English that we like that you have just said, sometimes this looks very easy to say. But you now, as a person, your personality, every one of us have a limit. What is your limit when it comes to the different? That is okay, we can do, but when it comes to this different, though, I don't know. Count me out.
So for me, my limit is repeated bad behavior, even after correction.
Okay.
Yes. So we all have boundaries. We all have where, once you get to this point, I'm done. Right?
So as long as it is not repeated, you can always...
Because the first time you do it, there's a correction, please, this is my boundary, don't cross it.
But what about if it's the person's? Because when
Person's
it is the
nature.
person's nature.
Yes.
Do you understand? You are
walk
telling
away?
me that I should not...
Come
I
near
should
you.
not, how do I even say it? I should not, what are the...
Have
what are the...
any...
No, so in that situation, right, I am very accommodating.
Okay.
Okay, so
You have a large heart.
What
Okay, well
right, yes. So let me give an example. Let's say what perfect example should I give? Let's use relationship now.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Let's use this perfect one that they say the socks is on the floor.
Okay.
So let's say my spouse likes to drop his socks on the floor.
And you don't like it.
And I don't like
So
it.
if the person drops it first,
So
day,
first
again,
time, right, I
the
might say,
second
okay,
day.
please, let's move this thing, babe. Second day, it's there. Now, at
Yeah.
the third time,
Yeah.
I might start picking it up.
So what you start picking it
I will
up.
start picking it up
So
because
what about if your
there's-
spouse doesn't stop?
He will stop becoming spouse.
No,
You
that's not
pack
what
your
I
load, you
mean.
pack your load
That's
and
not-
go.
no.
It's just an instance.
It's just an instance,
He will start
exactly.
becoming babe.
No. It's just
It
that's what
become- it
I'm
become
explaining.
Mr.
That
Man.
at that point, right,
Yeah.
my accommodating nature will now step in.
No, what
I
I,
have to
said,
now start picking it.
where do you draw
Where
the
does it
line?
draw?
Drawing a line. I don't think there's a line to draw in marriage.
That means
Maybe
you
my
are
example was
That's
because if you say you want to draw a line with that
Yeah.
particular example, then
But because we are seeing that in relationships today, people are drawing a line. That's why they divorce.
Yeah.
They call it unreconcilable differences.
differences.
And that English is very loud, but it's not going on.
Unreconcilable
Ambiguous.
differences. And you are now wondering, what is that thing? What is that thing that they cannot forgive themselves? People
It's
actually have...
breaking.
Yes.
Most times it's breaking communication when they can't resolve.
I think it's
It has eaten
also
so deep. So when they now want to reconcile, where do you want to start from? It has piled and piled and piled over the year.
Yeah.
So you can't start to, when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? It's rooted.
All right. Lastly, Bimbo, do you think there's a place of the help of God when it comes to having to deal with the different that makes the difference?
there's always a place of the help of God. However, there are some people who would refuse the help of God. So there's that part also.
Like God is saying, "Come, let me help
God
you."
wants to help
And
you,
they're saying,
but you
"God,
say, no, this
don't
is
help
who I
me."
am, oh Lord. This is who I am, and that's it. And so at that point, you walk away. See, there are some moments in life where people change, people evolve. And I remember I was saying something about friends and all. People's patterns change. It's people's patterns we need to read more. The
Patterns
patterns
change.
with their friends, the patterns with the friends they claim they have, the new friends they have, the patterns with those friends.
Okay.
You get to see who your spouse really is in those patterns. You get to see who your friend is with our other friends and the patterns of our other friends. Those things, once you are able to read patterns, you have to be patient. You have to be more discerning to understand this. Once you're able to read patterns, you are better at understanding what's going on. Having that conversation, and if at that point when the person doesn't want to have a conversation, life is too short. My mother says you have to enjoy your life. So when it's not working again, let it all go apart. And the fact that it goes apart doesn't mean that's the end, really. But then again, to keep it, communicate well. Let's understand ourselves. When you see a pattern you are not liking and it was not in agreement with the goal that we have, every marriage has a goal.
Yeah.
It's a purposeful journey, right? So when it's not in alignment with the pattern, the goals that we've set, hello, I'm seeing this pattern. What are your thoughts? What's going on? It's talking about it, really.
All right. In conclusion, I just this is now to the audience for us to understand that we have established that there would always be differences. There would always be differences, because we are all different in nature, different from backgrounds, belief, and most especially the ones that we have not really talked about today, that experiences.
Yeah.
Experience have actually molded people to who they are, and sometimes they don't share it, but the effect of that experience comes to play in their character and what
daily,
they do. But we are understanding that there's a place where we can embrace our differences and turn our diversity into strength. Learn to tolerate ourselves, then see how we can see the good in whatever anybody's doing. So we're gonna be going off for now. Maybe some other time you can join us, but the different can actually make the difference.
Sure.
God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Folari, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good to be
Janet,
here.
J Mami, and Abim Bola, right? I can call the full name.
Yes, please. I love
Thank
that.
thank you so much.